All right, so the prompt today is how do you build on students' responses to deepen students' learning? Okay. Well, the obvious thing is, well, you have to start with a student's response, so you have to elicit a response to begin with, so you have to ask a good question. Then you have to follow up with those questions. Don't just let a question, don't just let an answer sit. You have to really think on your feet and be able to take that answer, that response, and build another question to ask clarifying questions or more probing, penetrating questions, depending on the nature of the question. It'd be very hard to have in front of you a set of probing or clarifying questions. You really kind of have to respond to what the student is saying. So there's really no way to prepare for it except to be quick on your feet and be able to make connections and to be able to model that for the students so they can do that for each other and more importantly do that to themselves. Like for instance, I just came from a third day of my student teaching, and I was asking my master teacher how he handles honors classes a little differently than the regular class. And even though the content is the same, he was noticing it. I was noticing, and he mentioned that he was asking them to push their questions further. To okay, you start with that question, and that's where he'd be like okay with the normal class with that question. But with the honors class, he asked them, okay, answer that question and take it further. I think that's what you can do with all students. And again, model it for them so that they can do it for themselves, even at home, and they can do it for other students. So then the students can model it for each other if even one of them picks it up from you as a teacher. Beyond that, and this is something I use in my tutoring a lot, is asking students to visualize. This is all whether things are appropriate or not, depending on the content. But maybe ask them to consider personal connections, ask them to visualize, ask for other sensory daydreaming, if you will. If for some reason the content lends itself to imagine a smell. I mean, for instance, yesterday I was tutoring a kid and he was struggling with answering a question. I told him, well, just close your eyes and picture yourself wading out into the water until it's up to your waist. I don't know why that was related to it, but it was, and that really helped him. So asking them to visualize it can help. Another thing, again, depending on whether the content would make this appropriate, is have the student teach you. If you think the student might already know something about the content, then ask them, what can you tell me about what you already know about the content before you even try to put anything on them? That's the best thing to do because then you know what they know and if what they know is correct or if you can supplement it in some way that can help them. Otherwise, you're just either teaching stuff they can't use or you're reteaching things they already know or you're probably just confusing them. If they already know something and you're trying to teach them something else that's not quite the same, it's much better to know if they think they know and they don't, or they know and they're pretty close. Like a lot of times working with vocab, kids are very close but not quite. Beyond that, yeah, beyond actually sensory data, I would say feelings. How does this make you feel? What does this make you think about? I mean, really try to drive home that a lot of what makes somebody intelligent, or at least appear intelligent, is the connections that they can make between things. That's how you really develop intelligence, is all the connections you can make and how you can make that meaningful and apply that in your life. So it really is about probing and clarifying and just teaching students how to ask questions of themselves and each other.